everyone, and welcome to the doomtombpodcast. My name is Chris. I am your host. Today we have all of the band members from UN, and they just did a phenomenal split with Coltsblood. Check it out on Bandcamp. You could get a digital copy. I think the records are now sold out, but hopefully maybe they'll do another pressing. So we get into that discussion. I want to go over all that, but first, I just want to let you know that I have been contributing to the Doom charts lately over the past few months, and I just figured I'd run down what I picked for my top 20, the ones I'm listening to the most right now for this month. You know, it changes from month to month, but here we go. The band Wizzard, Wizzerd, Cedium, Aramit, Blunt Horse, Temple of the Fuzz Witch, Monocluster, Sun Below, The Electric Cactus, Earthwalker. They got a great demo based out of Arizona. Fulano, Kook, who just came through here not too long ago. Acid Lord, Crypt Witch, Earthbong, Blind Monarch, Gravity King, The Munsons, Glitter Wizard. Yeah, they put on some really interesting shows. You got to check them out. I know they've done a lot of West Coast stuff, but I'm losing track here. Moontooth and Blind Scryer. That was my list for this month. Check some of those bands out on Bandcamp. You won't be disappointed. Those are the ones that I've been listening to the most this month, and I have just I've already started my list for next month for some other bands like Clouds Taste. I'll get it. Use your words. Clouds Taste Satanic. Great new release. Check it out. It's out now on Bandcamp and wherever you get your music. So, what do we get into? We talk a little eggnog, and maybe Fister was involved with that, the band Fister. Fire in the Mountains Fest. The release, absolutely, the release. Their latest one, Sentiment. You got to check it out. We talk a little pizza. We talk a little bit about drums. And thank you so much to Translation Lost Records for throwing out this release. We sincerely appreciate it. Let's get into it. This is the band UN. I am outside at the Rogue Bar in the end of February, and we only have, a few months left before the Rogue Bar will be closing for good. And this is going to be one hell of a night. We just saw Black Habit. Collapsian is on stage now. Body Void, which we interviewed a while back, is going to take the stage. And finally, the headliners, the band UN or UN. Which way do you pronounce it?
We pronounce it UN, but we're not particularly picky about it.
Right.
So what's in a name?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah. Is there any background behind the name, or you want to keep that to yourselves?
There's nothing particularly philosophical about it. It's just, we spent a long time finding a name, and there was a bunch of names that we had before that was even worse than the bad name that we have it now.
Okay, maybe that's a good question. That's great. What were some of the bad band names that you did not go with?
That's not something we're going to go into tonight. Yeah.
All right, guys. Could you please go around and introduce everybody in the band?
Sure, yeah. I'm Monty. I play guitars, and I'm the vocalist.
Alex, I play the drums.
Clayton, I play the bass. I'm David. I play guitar.
David got two mics. Is that important? David, two mics. So, I'm going to get closer in so I can, just in case we got to move the microphone around a little bit. I wanted to start off by talking about, you're all from Seattle, correct?
Yep.
Okay, or you're not from Seattle?
Los Angeles.
You're from LA?
Yeah, Los Angeles.
Okay, so with Los Angeles and Seattle, how does being in that area define your sound?
Ooh, this is a question that's, I think, I've recently answered. I mean, I think the climate and the weather and the overall dreary wetness of Seattle definitely influences, the kind of music that comes out of Seattle. Not just us, but
right.
Lots of other bands. And of course, I think it's a very interesting phenomenon how you have like very regional specific sounds.
Sure.
The Gothenburg thing, like you have like East Coast hardcore, like West Coast hardcore, So I think like that whole Cascadian style is, it's definitely very prominent. So not to mention, I think we've all like have like things with like mental illness, depression,
Right.
like emotional trauma. So I think that all is like a very effective concoction for dark, heavy music,
And you can hear it, and it comes out. I want to go right into this. It's Translation Lost Records.
Yep.
Correct? Okay. They released the latest split with Coltsblood. Wow. That is an epic sonic tune. And, it's funny because as I was listening to it several times, it makes me think like, I hope that you guys get to go out on tour with Bell Witch, because that would be like such a phenomenal double bill.
Yeah, it would be a heavy one for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about that track? Because as listening to it, I felt like it was in like 4 distinct segments to me.
Sure.
What is your take on it?
Well, I think from a songwriting perspective, we kind of try to tell stories with all of our compositions,
Right.
Not just lyrically, but also just like we want the songs themselves, to go kind of like there needs to be a specific beginning, middle, and end,
Right.
So, we try and kind of like come at it from a cinematic kind of narrative approach.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And that's what comes across, because in listening to the music, I really feel like it's a movie, and I have my. It's funny, each time I hear it, it's like I have a different movie in my head, but there's different scenes, and I would never say it's like a soundtrack, but it's like you're giving this audience time to get in their head and just to absorb the sound that you're creating. I just think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, thank you, first of all. But yeah, it's interesting. In Every Fear Illuminated, there's no repeating parts really, but there's repeating motifs.
Right.
Like there's a melody that the song starts off with that ends up coming back into the song later on, just in a different context.
Right.
I think a lot of people, unless you know that, probably won't even like kind of pick it up, because it comes back in as like a clean guitar, like kind of like sparkly melody, rather than the centerpiece when it is in the heavier part earlier on in the song.
Yes.
We also do that in Sentiment as well. The song Garden Where Nothing Grows, the main melody ends up coming back in as like an atmospheric part later
Right.
on. So yeah, we try to keep everything tied together without like redoing the same stuff over and over again.
Okay. And how did you get involved with Parker Chandler?
We played a festival with Cough a few years ago, and Midnight Communion in Long Beach.
Yeah.
And we just met those guys through that, and we got along pretty well. And then we ended up playing with Windhand like a year later, and just kind of like reconnected through that. And so we just kind of stayed in touch, over the years. So
Right.
that's pretty much where that friendship began.
It seemed like he was the go-to for that vocal.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I think it was just like we were in the van one day, like thinking about it, because I mean, personally, I like to have our friends involved in our music too. Like,
Absolutely.
I want it to be bigger than just the 4 of us.
Right.
So there's guest vocals on Tomb of All Things. There's guest vocals on Sentiment as well. So that aspect of it is pretty important to us. And like, I can't even remember. I think it might have been our roommate Jay who was like, "Oh, what about Parker Chandler from Cough?" And I was like, "That's a genius idea." you
Yeah.
know? So, and it worked out really perfectly. So
It fits the track so well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like I said. That was it for me. That's one other segment of the song.
sure.
So, if you don't mind, do you mind if we talk a little bit about Sentiment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Sentiment, we had a release of September 2018, and it's kind of incredible that you actually turn around and release another 20-minute track just a few months later, which kudos to you all. And I want to read this because you put this on your, I believe it was on Bandcamp. where it says, if you have ever questioned your worth, if you have ever felt unloved, if you have ever asked yourself if any of the pain is really worth it, these songs are for you. Why do you say that?
I mean, at the end of the day, we just wanted the record to be like relatable to anyone. You know, we want people who like hear the songs or hold the record in their hands to feel like, you know, those songs were written for them.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it.
And if I could go track by track, I know you talked a little bit about A Garden. Would you mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
In its absence, what can you tell me about it?
In its absence, thematically, is about separation anxiety. Mm-hmm. It's about the idea that without your emotional trauma, without your mental illness, without whatever thing, that you wouldn't be a complete person.
Absolutely.
And I've found that a lot of times what happens is people don't get help for those things because they feel like, you know, they won't be the same creative person or they won't be the same friend or whatever without that part.
Yeah.
And it's a really tough hurdle that I think, you know, everyone here in the band has faced, and I know a lot of other people that in our friend groups and communities have faced. So
depression is an absolute beast. I'm assuming that's and you know, talking about separation anxiety. I mean, my dog has that. Yeah. I see that all the time when he comes in and he's, you know, won't leave me alone for the first 25 minutes that I'm home. But okay, so and we'll get back to this track, Pools of Reflection. What can you tell me about that?
Sure. Pools of Reflection was, I think, one of the first songs that we actually wrote for the record. David, our guitarist, he kind of wrote the main melody on piano, and then we kind of just like rearranged it for guitar and started the song. The lyrics were a bit harder. We knew we wanted to have Kelly Schilling from Dreadnought do guest vocals on that track, and so the lyrics came a little bit more of a struggle. You know, I didn't want to write a song about suicide on this record, but that's pretty much just what it ended up being anyway. So
wherever your creative outlet ends up is where it ends up. Do you have anything to add about how you created that? Helped to create that track?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about adding piano into tracks, and we've talked about just creating more layers, having more instruments, not just being two guitars, bass drums, and that whole thing. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, so I was playing around with piano a lot. And actually, at the end of the split track that we do, there's a piano piece that I had a piece in mind. I kind of did an improv thing. We ended up sort of using that for the end. But yeah, I just had this piano piece, and I had that, and then Monty and I kind of found a way to, I guess, make that work in a doom metal platform as opposed to just being a one piano thing.
Will it doom?
And it
in the words of Green Druid, will it doom?
Yeah, exactly. So and that's kind of how that started, and then really a group process once that got introduced. It was
awesome.
All of us attacking it from whatever angle we had. So
yeah, and once you bring yours, you get everybody else to add in, make it collaborative like it should be, and you come out with a great product.
Totally.
What can you tell me about Sentiment?
The album as a whole was kind of inspired, emotionally, from a Friedrich Nietzsche quote.
Right.
What have we in common with the rosebud, which trembleth when a drop of dew forms upon it? And that was very striking to me.
Right.
It kind of illustrated the beauty and fragility of life, which kind of ties into everything that we do. And so originally that was just kind of an idea that was like a concept that floated around, and it ended up being in the lyrics, which wasn't the original plan, but so that's just kind of like the centerpiece emotionally of the record.
Was that why you had that on the album art? Was that why you had the flowers?
Yeah, totally.
On the cover.
Yeah, the rose is a very important motif.
Yeah,
in that, so.
Yeah, I've seen it on your social quite a bit. So
yeah. Indeed.
And is there anything else that you can add? I know we touched on it just previously with A Garden Where Nothing Grows.
Yeah, A Garden Where Nothing Grows. That's probably I think the most emotionally charged and complex song that we've written overall. There's a lot of different parts to it, but The imagery itself was inspired by an Edgar Allan Poe poem called Deep in Earth. And it's basically about someone who is mourning the loss of a loved one at their gravestone. And we were on the road and we drove past a cemetery that was called the Garden of Memories. And I thought it was kind of a bleak and beautiful image to think of a cemetery as a garden. And so that's just kind of, the concept behind that song. I think it's relatable. Everyone has lost someone, So.
And how do you deal with it? How do you, how long is the grieving process? What do you do to grieve? Should you grieve? Does it happen right away? Does it hit you? I had a family member I lost within the past year, and at first, I got to admit, I was numb.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person personally where it's like, well, I gotta live, I gotta do work, so I go past it. But then every once in a while, you see like, oh, I could tell him about. No, I can't, because he's not here. I could tell him about whatever, or he would have loved to have seen this on this television show. And that's how mine comes across, and it's different for everybody. So, you had Sentiment, and you have the split with Coltsblood. Well, you know what? We didn't touch on it, but why Coltsblood?
I met Coltsblood. I did some traveling with another band that I play for. We did a European tour a few years ago, and I met all of them previously. They're great people, and they're a great band.
Right.
So we wanted to kind of, link up with a band from a different region and try and just like spread, the awareness on both sides of things and that was basically it,
Okay.
We knew we didn't want to do it with like another American band like right off the bat. So,
right.
Yeah.
Give it a little. So then that's the thing. I apologize. I'm not certain. Have you made it over to Europe yet?
We have not. No.
Or do you plan on it in the future?
We're hoping this year, but nothing is like quite in stone yet.
From what I was told from the guys in Body Void, there's a thing called Void Fest over there, which basically it's named for them, obviously. So they're probably going to be the headliners, Body Void. And maybe something?
Yeah, I mean, if we get an offer, we'll do it. We'd love to. I mean,
perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see, where else? What do you feel was the progression for your music from the Tomb of All Things to Sentiment to this current split?
So an interesting thing is the split is actually prior to Sentiment.
Right.
We wrote Every Fear Illuminated actually 2 years ago. When Alex, our new drummer, joined the band, he's not a new drummer anymore, but at the time, when he first joined the band, we had kind of debated on whether or not we wanted to spend the energy like teaching and relearning songs from Tomb of All Things or just being productive and writing new stuff. And so that's what we did. I think within the first 4 weeks of him joining the band, we had wrote Every Fear Illuminated and had it completely recorded.
That's beautiful. When everything gels together and you got some, creative juices flowing, go with it, man.
Totally.
So do you have anything else new in the works? I know is this the last date officially? Are you going to Vegas after here?
Yeah, we play Vegas tomorrow.
You play Vegas tomorrow.
We're always working on new stuff. Especially like trying to keep the tour schedule as active as possible. I think we're like constantly in writing mode when we're not on the road.
Right.
So, we don't really have any like solid plans for anything now, but hopefully, we'll have more new music within the next year or two.
As it comes. Look, the material that you put out, there's plenty to go around.
Yeah.
Believe me. Okay, so now you're finishing up this tour. I know that you have some other dates coming up. I don't know whether it's June 13th or 14th. You're doing Fire in the Mountains in Wyoming.
Yeah, Fire in the Mountains. We're super excited for that. It's such a beautiful and special fest. So we're super grateful to have been asked to be included on that.
And then the next day, you're playing Electric Funeral in Colorado? Or are you taking a day break?
Yeah. So.
I thought it was June 13th, 14th, and then 14th, 15th.
So June Okay, I'm forgetting June. Electric Funeral's in June.
Yeah.
And Fire in the Mountains is in July.
Oh, July.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, for you to drive from Wyoming to Colorado and get there, and you had to have like maybe a day off or something.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some pretty crazy drives. I think we've done like a 20-hour straight drive in the past, so it's possible.
I hope you got to play every ounce of every bit of material that you ever had.
That sounds exhausting, but I would do it if someone wanted us to.
Okay, so since you've been touring, I know that we're in where are we? We're in Scottsdale, Arizona, and last week it snowed here, and there was still snow on the mountains, which is unbelievable. So you guys have been driving through some hellish weather due to this, whatever it is, the polar vortex, or whatever it's called. Quick question: what do you prefer, cold or heat?
I like the heat, but I know Seattle-wise they're all used to the cold, but I don't know. I think these dudes would take the cold.
I was going to say, the thing is, if you're sleeping in a van a lot, it's a lot easier to stay warm in a cold van than it is to stay cool in a hot van. So if it's like 105 at night and you're trying to sleep in a van, you're going to die of heat stroke. So cold would be better, I think, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, the last tour that we did was last June, and we were all through the Midwest and South, and like there were days where we were having salt stains on our clothes.
Yeah, it gets all white and shit.
Yeah, like underwear just bleached, from the sweat.
Oh, that's pleasant.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. You definitely learn a lot about yourself when you're trapped in a van with 3 other dudes who are sweating their entire liquid.
Everything's coming out of every pore, whether it's the sweat from last night's booze or whatever else whatever else you had going on.
A cooler of water.
Yeah, there was a band that came through here, Wounded Giant.
Wounded Giant?
Yeah.
That band, yeah.
And they were on tour.
We were, yeah.
And
I play drums in Wounded Giant.
Are you fucking no, wait a minute. So I saw you Club Red?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mesa, right?
Yeah, Club Red in Mesa, yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. I had a great pick of I apologize, the guitarist.
Bobby James.
I got a great pick of him, and I just altered it a little bit. It was perfect colors and stuff.
Very cool.
But I saw a picture of you guys, and I asked one of you about it, where he had a bag of ice on his chest while he's while he's driving through wherever you were.
He gets Bobby is he doesn't like the heat at all. So when we get down to these kind of zones, he needs to have something cool on him. He gets heat strokes and all, heat exhaustion, he'll freak out. Yeah,
so he's a
soaking wet, ice cold bandana on at all times. Yeah, hurtling over in the van.
So, do you think that if he took some of the rings off, that he would be?
It's got to be the rings. It's
not as warm.
Yeah. Him and Mark have more metal on their hands. I don't even know.
And but that's it. It's metal.
Yeah.
So you got to have metal.
Got her.
And I just remember shaking his hand. I'm like, oh my God! It's I felt like I was in a sheet metal factory or something.
Yep.
So that's cool, man. Shit, I apologize.
Small world.
It is a small world, but I don't want to paint it.
One thing I'll say is I vastly prefer playing in the heat than in the cold.
Right.
Playing too cold, it's tough. It is just your fine motor skills are out the window. So
absolutely,
I play better under stress and stuff. So I prefer playing in the heat, but traveling in the heat is horrible.
Can I just ask one quick question for you? I'm wondering, because the last album, did you have any influence from the band Voivod for that album?
Are you talking about
Wounded Giant?
Wounded Giant?
Yeah.
Bobby does some Voivod.
I felt like I heard some
personally
with the vocal a bit, and I didn't know if there was any
I could see Bobby being into that. He's got such a plethora of weird, different styles in his head going on at all times. I could see him pulling out some Voivod for sure.
And are you doing double duty, or are you staying in?
Wounded's kind of on the funk kind of thing now. He about 2 years ago moved to Europe, to Luxembourg. So Bobby,
right?
So they had a baby. They moved. You know how that goes with a band. So
it's a separator.
It's put a big halt on things, but who knows what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those just if a reunion show came up, maybe cool, but
okay.
I don't know what else.
And now you're moving on to Un.
that's what the past 2+ years have been. Yeah,
there it is.
It worked out in perfect.
Has it been 2 years
honestly.
since you guys came through here with Windhand Giant?
Yeah, that would have been about 2. Yeah, it's about.
Jeez, time flies, man.
It does.
Damn. Okay, just a quick question. You guys fans of eggnog? Yes or no?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a delicious drink. It's a delicious beverage. It's seasonal. I mean, if it's Christmas time and you got some in the fridge, I'm not going to turn it down.
Have you been talking to Kenny from Pfister?
No, but I got this feeling that there was a whole lot of eggnog in maybe at the end of a tour or something.
What is it called though? It's like a specific name for it. Dutch something or no. Pennsylvania Dutch. That was the name of the specific one. I think Jim Beam too, but I didn't know that was a thing. Pennsylvania Dutch, or but it's delicious. So anyone out there, try it out.
So it's a shout out. Do you think that Un will ever make its own version of an eggnog?
I think it's more likely that we'll start our own line of tacos.
Tacos. Hard shell or soft?
Soft.
Thank God.
All right.
Joke around about what that would be. It would be soft tacos. There's no doubt about it.
Mr. David Wright is very serious about tacos. You could ask him all about that.
We've been having a bit of a taco, you could call it a race, a challenge of some sort.
Right.
Started in all fun, but we just started recording how many tacos we eat every tour, and I think Alex and I are currently tied at 72 tacos. Clayton trailing real close behind with 70. Monty's more of a burrito man, so he's holding it up at 26.
That's in 9 days, though.
But that's
over
in 9
70
days.
tacos.
I'm not proud of this number. This isn't something I would brag about, but it is a reality, and it is.
We're at a total of 230 tacos even in 9 days.
We actually went. Yeah, so with today we're at 230 total tacos. I mean, music's okay, but eating tacos is great.
So here's the question. And by the way, it's what's today? Tuesday. It's fucking Taco Tuesday here. Taco. So after the show, you got to find a place around. There's got to be some place around here that has tacos.
You were too right about that.
Now, if you are the taco man, can you please explain to me what makes the best taco?
Yeah, we've actually been having deep discussions about what a taco even is. I mean, at what point does some form of food become a taco, and at what point was it not a taco prior? But without a doubt, I mean, for those that eat meat, it's all about the quality meat. If you don't eat meat, which is awesome too. I think it's all about just getting great flavors, spices and tortillas. That really makes it's kind of like the bun on a hamburger. I mean, the meat's great, everything's great, but if the bun sucks, what do you got? You got nothing. So, double those tortillas up. Right. One tortilla is not enough. Generally, you need two. I prefer corn, but flour's fine.
Now, here's the thing, because he's a taco man, so I know you get X amount of quality in each taco, but this gentleman is a burrito man. So is there any chance that you put a tortilla underneath the burrito and then just go hog wild at it so that you have another taco after?
What you're talking about is the mythical burrito taco, and I suspect it does exist, but we have not seen it.
All right, well, and also I must ask, because you asked for flavor, what spice level? What are we at? Like colon blowing or what?
Well, whenever we go to Del Taco, we usually get the Del Scorcho. It just tastes better. It's not the spiciest. Really, it's about flavor. I mean, heat is awesome, but if there's no flavor there, then what are you doing to yourself?
Exactly. Now, here's a question. This goes all the way back when I first started doing the podcast. I was asking this question. Maybe we can even kick it back again. I was asking, like, what do you want me to ask the next band? Like, one question. If you have anything, I would love it at the end. Maybe I'll restart it. Oh my God, I can see his face and I'm blanking. From Red Wizard, Miles from Red Wizard, the band Red Wizard. His question to the next band was, where was the worst place you took a shit on tour? So I'm thinking...
This is a question for Clayton.
And it doesn't have to be this tour, but have you had any bad... because, I mean, tacos, look, man, that's going to go right through. Yeah. So is there any place that's been the worst, or...
I mean, there's been, like, weird bad happenings at certain places where you'll go into a restroom, it's a busy show, and then all of a sudden the toilet doesn't flush and water starts seeping up everywhere.
And that's when you run out as fast as you can.
Someone's knocking on the door, and it's like maybe a okay for girl or guy bathroom, you know?
Yeah.
You don't know who's coming in next, and then someone comes in next, but the toilet's all spilling out.
Yeah, and you don't want to roach it and then have a girl come in there. Yeah.
And then the bartender's got to come and snake it out or something, you know? But that kind of stuff happens. I don't know.
So with the amount of tacos that you're eating, would it be safe to say that you're going to carry like a little spray just in case, for the sake of being giving somebody else a comfort level?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea at all.
Good.
At all.
I really appreciate
matches, you know, just bam, blast
yeah,
off
a little, maybe like carry some nag champa.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
great.
just light a little bit, and it's like earthy and delicious.
Helping everyone out.
I wanted to take a second. In Colorado, True Brewing, or TRV Brewing, released this beer, the Pools of Reflection beer. Have any of you tried it?
We haven't yet.
Have you heard what the notes are?
I haven't gotten the specifics. I've heard it's really good. I have a few friends who've tried it, and they love it.
I have it written down.
You do?
Golden, mixed with Culture Ale. It's a dry amber, medium to high acid. Cherry candy, minerality, which I'm not sure what that even means. Mineral, yeah, but it's like, is it like dirt? Like dirt, okay. Yeah. And fruit, aroma, and flavor. So it's a delicious beer for any time, really. You know, I think. So do you think, so since you're going to be in Colorado, will you be checking it out? Or
I hope so. I'm not sure how limited that run is, because some of their beers they don't stick around forever. So
right.
I'm hoping they'll have enough that we'll be able to try it by the time we get there. So fingers crossed on that. But
fingers crossed.
We're definitely very grateful to have been included in that collaboration. So
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, they're amazing people.
I'm pretty sure we go to True every single time we go to Denver, and they're amazing. They also take good care of touring bands of any type, which is really an awesome thing for anybody to do. So
there you go. And if you're in Colorado, and I'm blanking on the spot, but there's a pizza place called Hogback Pizza. One of the brothers in Stone Deaf, he runs that business, and big shout out to him, because I know he takes care of people anytime.
I haven't been there myself, but I love pizza. So
all right, well, while we're on the subject, and then I know we're going to wrap it up. Is fruit acceptable on pizza?
Yes.
Pineapple's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know you're gonna get some detractors from that.
I mean, bring it on.
All right. Do you think there will be a sign at a Vegas show or at a future show once the podcast goes up? Maybe somebody just having a big sign saying no to pineapple, like with a line through it, and the circle with a line through it or something?
I should probably jump in here and explain for people listening that Monty's a pizza artist and takes it very seriously. He actually made pizzas for a while at a local establishment and would come home sometimes pretty upset with the creative choices the owners would make regarding the pizza. So if Monty says it's okay to have pineapple on pizza, that's a very thought-out response to a deep question.
So it's high praise. High praise for the pineapple.
I mean, it's not my favorite topping, but it's perfectly acceptable.
Okay, fine. Well, how about it? Favorite topping?
I got to go with mushrooms.
Mushrooms?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I always want mushrooms on.
I would agree.
Mushrooms, mushrooms the way to go?
Yeah.
Okay, either of you gentlemen?
Yes. I'm a jalapeno guy.
Jalapeno.
Clayton does love jalapenos.
Yeah, mushrooms are great. Bell peppers, definitely a high one for me. Those can always go on there.
Nobody's gonna say black olives, huh? I like a black olive.
I'm actually out on black olives.
All right, then you can have your pie. We'll share that one with the jalapeno and black olives. We got it. I know you guys got a beer out there, but let's say it. Liquor or beer?
Beer for me.
I'm a tequila guy, so tequila.
Okay.
I'm a beer guy.
Beer completely, 100%, yeah.
All right. Let me ask you about your gear. Is there anything that you're really close to, or anything that you want to talk about?
I am personally pretty flexible on gear. I mean, I know in my head what I want my sound to be like, but
right.
I am constantly changing my mind and my idea of what the perfect tone is. So
right.
My pedal board is different almost every tour, but I do play through an Ampeg V4 from the 70s that I absolutely love. It's super heavy and really inconvenient to move, but it sounds great, and it's been relatively reliable since I've had it rebuilt. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you had a pardon me because I apologize, I don't know enough about the drums, but you had a 14x8 stainless snare that was made.
Oh yeah, my baby.
Tell me what that does for your sound.
Yeah, Trent, local guy in Seattle, is kicking out rad snare drums, all stainless steel.
Right.
Customize it to what you want, like depending on what hardware you want on it, the hoops, all whatnot.
Right.
And he just started doing paint jobs too, which is really cool because you get like a stainless steel painted drum, which is kind of
badass.
Rare. Yeah. It's added a lot. I mean, since we brought this in, this is like the second tour playing with it. It's still kind of new in the mix, but it's like it's got built-in reverb pretty much. It's like you hit it and it's like a cannon goes off. And
nice.
I gotta warn them all before we sound check. Cool. Hey, close your ears first. It's like most sound guys don't even mic the thing. It's just so loud. Yeah.
Can you give him one more shout out?
That's Trent Mcintyre out in Seattle. He has a snare drum company. You can find all over social media. I think this drum is number 37 or something. So he's doing them, selective, but doing them. So
he's taking his time. Yeah. He's making the right piece for the right person, which is very important. Cool. What about your gear?
I'd say my Varellin Meat Smoke. It's 300 watt tube head. Varellin's a cool company. It's from Seattle.
Right.
And one of the cool things is they do like kind of free maintenance and whatnot. Basically just kind of have to buy the parts and they fix it for you, So that's great being a touring musician. I dabble a little bit in building pedals.
Right.
So my main fuzz pedal is a pedal that I built myself with a friend in a garage.
Are you building them for anybody else?
We haven't yet, but right now we've just been kind of experimenting.
Okay. So. Would you want anybody to reach out to you if they want a pedal?
Maybe not. Not right now. Not right now. I'm a pretty busy guy.
Okay.
But maybe in the future, if we take it seriously, maybe you'll see something come up.
There you go.
So.
And what are you playing through?
I don't know. I have a couple of Emperor cabinets.
Right.
They're from Chicago. I've had those for 7-8 years now.
Right.
They're in perfect condition. So if anyone's interested, they're not in perfect aesthetic condition, but they are functionally 100%. Clayton actually, the bass player, he actually wired up and respeakered all of those himself. But yeah, those cabinets are top notch. I go through a Softtech MiG 100, which is a great amp. Usually pretty cheap. They're loud. I have a Black Arts Toneworks fuzz pedal that I would say is probably the heaviest lifting pedal that I have.
Right.
And then I go through, I have a Strymon delay, Strymon timeline. I have the Strymon Big Sky reverb, and I ended up actually getting the Strymon Mobius, so I'm one of those nerds too.
Well, that's with a lot of people in the genre, man. They just want what they want, and it takes time to find that tone.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I try to think of them as tools for writing music, not as, the most important thing. It's more, if I bought those things as tools to get us to a better spot and having the live sound be better and
sure
making cooler music. So, whatever you got is cool. But yeah, I would say that's what I go through.
And it works for you.
Yeah. It's great.
Is there anybody that you want to tour with?
There's a lot of bands.
Give me like a top three.
Top three. I'm blanking now. Ahab.
Okay.
Windhand, since they're our friends. Yob would be amazing. Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's the top three. That sounds like a killer tour.
Yeah, let's bring Ahab to Europe or to America. Let's bring him from Europe.
I know Yob had to cancel a date here, and they're going to be here in April.
That's awesome. They're seriously something special. Yeah, in every way. Yeah.
Right on. Okay, so if there is a movie, we're going to do this in two parts. If there is a movie and the name of the movie is or maybe it's not, would you name your movie something else if it's a movie about you all?
Oh, it's got to be a train wreck of a film, somewhere between a.
So that might be the title, train wreck of a film. Wrecked.
It's somewhere between like a Victorian tragedy and a Jackass film, that's for sure.
Okay. Now, I asked this question quite a bit. You have to pick somebody else. I want you to pick the person and tell me what actor's going to play them in the movie.
Brad Pitt, right here.
This is Brad Pitt, right here?
David.
Okay. David's Brad Pitt. Okay, what else?
I don't know.
Gary Sinise would be Clayton.
Clayton.
Oh, my God. You're going to have to chop those off a little bit, man.
Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
No doubt.
All right. Go ahead. Well,
Seth Rogen, just because we're big dudes.
Well, we were having this discussion off mic, and you said like, you know, I reminded you of Phil Collins. I've heard the Michael Chiklis from The Shield and all that shit, and I've also, unfortunately, I have heard Shrek. I'm not proud of it. It's just the way it is. I just like to think, you know, I'm a comfortable ogre. So, so I'll take it.
Shrek is very lovable.
You know, Shrek's a lovable guy, and not only that, if somebody asked me to do the voice, hell yeah, I'd be on board in a heartbeat.
Can we hear your best Shrek accent?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've got nothing.
Put you on the.
Wait, what did he say? What did he say? Who was it? Stupid donkey. Is that it?
Pretty close.
So, where can everybody find you all on social media?
Oh, that is a labyrinth of. Basically, Facebook.com/unvibes.
Yes.
UNVIBES. Un.vibes, you know, for Instagram. And I think that's pretty much what we all do.
Bandcamp.
Yeah, unvibes.bandcamp. I mean, yeah, our name is kind of weird, so we try to make it as uniform as possible. It's just like unvibes anywhere you go.
Right.
In fact, I think the first time we played with Windhand, they put us on the poster as Unvibes because they thought that was just the band name. But so. And
I saw on the Bandcamp link that if you wanted the LPs to go over to the record company itself.
Yeah, I mean both the pressings are pretty much sold out.
Right.
So there's not really anywhere except for a show that you could get one right now. But hopefully that'll change, you know, soon. But
absolutely. And I got to tell you, man, that's some crazy ass, sick, beautiful colored vinyl.
Thank you.
That is phenomenal. I can't wait to pick. I was hoping I went over right away to make sure you had it so I can pick some up.
Drew from Translation Loss is a madman. He'll literally sit with every record for days, and that's the only thing he'll listen to until the colors come to him. And, you know, like, he's just so great at it, and we're super grateful to work with him.
And we'll put a link in the show notes for that. Now, as a parting, is there anything that you would like me to ask the next band? I'll ask. If not, that's cool.
I can't think of anything.
What's the best bathroom you took a shit in on like last tour? Because that's much more positive of a thought, and I feel like those really stick with you.
Yes.
Shout out to Starbucks.
Starbucks, good bathrooms.
They always clean their bathrooms. It's great.
Very nice. You know what? I gotta say, if I was to be going around, I'd hit up some supermarkets. Not a low rent supermarket. Yeah. You gotta go like here. It'd be like Fry's, Safeway, gorgeous bathrooms. Flying J's.
Yeah, truck stops. You know, like truck stop, like, you know, Pilot, Flying J, Loves. Yeah.
Huge shout out to Flying J and Loves.
I bet they keep you going with between the gas and the tacos, and then the gas from the tacos. Yeah. See where we went with that. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I sincerely appreciate it. I wish you success in your travels, and I can't wait for some new material, hopefully sometime soon, 2019, 2020. Thanks, brothers.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
A big thank you to the guys in Un. Thank you guys so much. You were gracious with your time, and I sincerely appreciate it. You know, I wanna play this track. I gotta say, I feel a little silly not knowing the drummer for Wounded Giant is also in this band. So, yeah, I'm kind of an idiot. But I do remember seeing the Wounded Giant show and really, really loving it. But you know what? I'm glad that they're doing what they're doing here. And yeah, you know what? Let's go play. This is a split, and what a split it is. It is incredible. You're going to be taken on a journey
The other side has Coltsblood, Snows of the Winter Realm. However, we're going to play the untrack. This is Every Fear Illuminated.
doomtombpodcast@gmail.com is how to reach us. Someday I got to admit, I'm going to get this website rolling. It's just how many hours do you have in the day sometimes? It's the same sometimes with the call interviews that I have to make because the people, the bands are not coming to this area. So, I got to give them a buzz, and then it's like a time difference, and it's time schedules and work and everything else added. I'm sure you all know the deal. Just let you know, I have a bunch of people lined up for this year that some are just going to knock your socks off. You are going to love it. So, you know what? Until that time, what do we got coming up next? We have When the Deadbolt Breaks coming. We have The Munsons coming. That was a crazy interview done outside in the back of the Palo Verde Lounge. Actually, come to think of it, When the Deadbolt Breaks interview, that was pretty crazy too. Yeah, we'll go into it when we get to the podcast. Also have the return of Wizard, and we had a really short interview with this band that was kind of following Wizard around. They said they weren't groupies of them, but I don't know. That band is Spliff Ripper. So look forward to all those coming up. We got a ton of stuff, a ton of different interviews coming your way. So, sit tight, and until that time, the next time, the meantime, and in between time, enjoy yourselves. Keep going to the shows. Buy some band merch every once in a while. And don't forget to stay heavy.
$35 million was spent by the Central Intelligence Agency alone in regards to LSD research. And that story was... after the CIA became aware of the existence of LSD, and after they had done a few experiments, that it could be developed into a non-lethal weapon that perhaps could even win wars in the future.